in terms of where things stand today, I'll try to not get too much into the legal weeds. You are right that I feel very confident that we'll see a decision from the courts in this year. In fact, I think I would guess it'll be in weeks, not months. There's some decisions that happened last week that you may have read about, that the judge ruled against the SEC's effort to redact certain information about a very kind of infamous speech that the then director of corporate finance, a guy named Bill Hinman, gave, talking about why ETH, in his view, was not a security. And the court just ruled last week that the notes and emails associated with that are going to be made public and should be public around June 13th. So I think that's a huge win for transparency. But what really calls out is there hasn't been clarity. And despite calls and demands from leaders across the crypto industry, we haven't seen that yet. But as I said, Ripple decided to lean in and fight this fight, both for Ripple, but for the whole industry. We've spent a lot of money defending it. And I think what we've called out is really that the government in the United States and the SEC particularly is putting politics ahead of smart policy. And because of that, you're seeing entrepreneurs go overseas. You're seeing companies like Ripple. Most of our hiring is non-US now. Most of our customers, as I mentioned, are non-US. And so I think it's kind of to be expected.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Bearable Bull here. And I got this aggressively average content for you today. As man, that was a bombshell that sent shockwaves across the XRP community. I remember coming here on YouTube just a couple weeks ago, where Brad Garlinghouse was in Dubai discussing how it could take into Q3 2023 for this case to be resolved. And now he's at another event, going on an interview discussing how he believes a ruling could be weeks, not months away. This is an incredible turn of events. And the reason I'm bringing this up to every single one of you is because here from Blockchain Backer's recent video, he discusses how he thinks that the charts do actually agree with that sentiment. This is an important moment for XRP Army history. And I can't stress that enough. Something also that was addressed in this video that I have to echo is that it probably won't be a resounding victory for Ripple. And that's something that I have been giving every single one of you indications of on my channel. Remember when we had Waters Above discussing how most likely what we could see is a rise to maybe maximum $1. We haven't seen it yet, but I don't believe that we're going to see an instant moonshot when it comes to the resolution of this case. We are still in a massive bear market. We still don't have the problem reaction solution narrative in place for XRP to come and get adopted. We still don't have the situation where XRP should be absolutely mooning yet. All I'm here to say is what I expect to happen with the resolution of this case is either a settlement or some type of clarity for XRP. That is it. And then what that will mean is XRP will be freed from the grasps of regulatory uncertainty and will be allowed to move freely in the open market of the crypto market for the next bull run. That is and always has been what I have been discussing for the last couple months. And I have to stress this. Ladies and gentlemen, I think XRP will reach a new all-time high and way past it this next cycle. And I think especially after the crisis that I expect to come around October this year, XRP's utility and adoption will accelerate at an unprecedented rate. You don't believe me? That's fine. But that's what I see coming with 2024 say. And in addition, something else that I think is helping that sentiment is seeing the urgency with which Gary Gensler is looking to bring as many enforcement actions on crypto as possible. It was stated here on Fox Business That Gary Gensler is sounding like he wants to bring cases fast because he smells a loss and won't have the grounds to bring them after a Ripple win. However, we know that Charles Gasparino on Fox actually sees a potential SEC victory. I believe it's going to be a mixed ruling, with the inevitable outcome of XRP being deemed a non-security, specifically on the secondary market, and XRP sales prior to 2018 being deemed as security sales. Your guess is as good as mine, but that's not the point. The point is we're getting action. And oh man, I love the volatility. I love being on the edge of my seats. We've been bored for 2.5 years in this lawsuit, and it's coming to an end. And ladies and gentlemen, please listen to this discussion, as I can sense Gary Gensler is beginning to get nervous.
And here's where it may come from an old friend of the crypto industry, Gary Gensler. So here's what we know from, I'm saying that sarcastically. Here's what we know from securities lawyers who represent clients that are under the gun in the crypto industry. What we understand is that Gensler is preparing essentially what has been described as a second leg of enforcement actions against the industry. It's been described to me from these same lawyers. Again, these are securities lawyers. A lot of them used to work at the SEC. You know, that's kind of how it works. You work at the SEC and then you go into private practice. What they're saying is that he's flogging, that's the word I heard, flogging his staff to bring crypto cases, and bring a lot of them following the FTX debacle. He thinks he's got good law on his side, and here's where he wants it. He wants to bring the cases, from what I understand, at least the read I'm getting. Okay, remember, I'm only as good as my sources. This is what they're telling me. The read is that they're looking at any case that has that is related to unregistered digital coins being sold that should be registered securities. That could mean both the sort of creators of the coin, the companies that are using it to finance whatever operations they have, like Ripple, like the case against Ripple, which has still not been settled. It's still going on. And exchanges. Okay, so that's what I understand. It's all encompassing. He's pushing for it. We should point out that there's a meeting tomorrow at the SEC. Apparently, the meeting with the commissioners occurs when they talk about enforcement cases. From what I understand, this will likely be part of that meeting. So stay tuned for more crypto cases coming soon. And again, on this whole issue of securities. Now, one point before I wrap it up. If Ripple wins the case, this kind of becomes a moot point. It's going to be very hard for Gary Gensler to bring cases of unregistered securities if somehow the courts set a precedent that says you can issue these things and you don't have to register. And even if you use it to build out your platform, which Ripple did partially for their cross-border payment system. If they win the case, meaning the SEC wins, well, I think Gensler is smelling a win based on what happened at FTX and a lot more. What's going to hit the fan.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is where me and Charles, we differ quite a bit. I think Ripple's going to get a more positive ruling in their favor, and Charles isn't so confident, which is fine. It is what it is, and everyone's entitled to their opinions. But something I can guarantee to all of you is more enforcement actions are on their way by the SEC. Here, from CoinDesk, we see that the Filecoin price dropped after the SEC asked Grayscale to withdraw application to make trust reporting. Grayscale did make an announcement that the SEC is suggesting Filecoin may be a security. The SEC suggested in the Bittrex lawsuit Algo could be a security as well. What is so stressful about this market is that all we want to do is play by the rules, and all they want to do is continue to not make any. We are in a proverbial state of limbo, and it's infuriating to be in this position. However, this is what I'm going to say. We, the XRP community, are at the end of the race, and we are going to, as a direct consequence, protect the entire market. If we have a favorable ruling in any capacity at all, it could transfer over to a lot of different cases as precedent for how to handle cases like this. I think Judge Torres has been very fair and reasonable as well as balanced, and I expect that type of ruling from this judge. I also expect her to take into account the magnitude of what this means for this industry in America and the magnitude of the corruption that has taken place at the SEC. And guys, what's crazy is that I'm going to cap off this video for today with a direct conversation from Gary Gensler as well as Tom Draper that I have played on this channel before, but feels especially true right now. Ladies and gentlemen, first they ignore us, then they laugh at us, then they try to fight us, and then we win. The XRP community is about to experience the winning phase, while the rest of the crypto market will be going through the fighting phase. And right about now, I'm feeling so blessed to have gone through the fire already. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Bearable Bull here. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. Now I'll be back tomorrow with another video.
But what
just
what
feel the panic in their voices. But here's here's what always happens. The first thing that happens is they try to go, oh, it's nothing, and they did that. I mean, that's with every new industry, every new technology comes along. The powers that be, the incumbents, the status quo, all say it's nothing. Don't ignore the man behind the curtain. This is nothing. And then all of a sudden it's too big to get in there. You know, they're going, oh my God, I got to face this thing. And then they all line up and they wrap their arms together and they say, we're not letting this happen. And then it keeps going. And then they say, okay, well, let's sue them. Or let's go get the government.
There's another thing too. They adopt the technology. I think.
No, that's at the end.
They will adopt this technology.
No, this is the last thing they do. No,
yeah, it's
after the press planting. They plant the press stories. They put out lawsuits. They create as much of a fuss as possible. They try to get their government friends.
Why do I hold XRP? Because Ripple's the chosen one to lead the new global digital payment system, and they use XRP. In 2013, the Federal Reserve began looking for faster payments options. 2 years later, an action plan was born and a federal payments task force was created. It included one company focused on crypto, Ripple. In 2014, the World Bank and Better Than Cash Alliance, which includes the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Clinton Global Initiative, and the governments of 32 countries, put out a report called The Opportunities of Digitizing Payments. 1 year later, the Better Than Cash Alliance featured one crypto company on their website, Ripple. Today, Better Than Cash Alliance and all other UN initiatives are focused on a single agenda, the Sustainable Development Goals for 2030. You can see the SDGs logo on Bill Gates' lapel, world-leading companies, the Better Than Cash Alliance website, and on the UN's official exchange, Exchange. What crypto is Exchange officially utilizing for their carbon credit solution? XRP. The world will move to a new international standard for exchanging electronic messages between financial institutions by 2025 called ISO 20022. Who was the first ISO 20022 member focused on distributed ledger technology? Ripple. Who's partnered with over 300 financial institutions, including Bank of America, American Express, PNC, Santander, SBI, HSBC, Standard Chartered Bank, Bank of England, India, Singapore, Scotland, Australia, and Indonesia, the largest banks in Japan, Canada, Egypt, the Middle East, United Arab Emirates, Thailand, Morocco, Bhutan, South Korea, Brazil, and Latin America? Ripple. Who is a former employee overseeing the Federal Reserve? Ripple. A former employee overseeing the world's largest asset manager, BlackRock's digital asset division? Ripple. Leading Australia's CBDC effort? Ripple. Who hired a former Treasury of the United States? Ripple. 2 former Federal Reserve attorneys to their board? Ripple. 2 former Clinton and Obama advisors? Former Minister of Defense and Economics of Germany? Former business director at Swift? Former Swift board member? Former CFO of PayPal? Former head of the DTCC? Former chief business officer at Uber? Former VP of Amazon and former SEC chair on their legal team? Ripple, who's a member of the Digital Pound Foundation, Digital Dollar Project, Digital Euro Association, Mojaloop, IMF's High-Level Advisory Board on FinTech, Hyperledger Blockchain Consortium, Open Payments Coalition, Faster Payments Council, Global Payments Steering Group, Cross-Border Working Group, International Association for Trusted Blockchain Applications, Crypto Climate Accord, University Blockchain Initiative, World Wide Web Consortium, and a featured partner of the World Economic Forum with 3 members of their team directly listed on the WF website, Ripple. Now, does Ripple and XRP sound like they're going to disappear, or do they sound like they're part of a much bigger plan? You decide.